Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is a reading. I'll start pulling out the cards. There's a memory that I have, and it came up again in my mind, so I figured I would bring it up. Um, at my bedside, there was a being, and it looked more angelic, and the aura or the color was more of as if pure gold was emitting, as if it shines like gold in a way, wasn't completely solid like those bricks, but it illuminated like crystals. So it seemed like it had that type of mm, that's what it was when I was just in bed. And with that, one of the main archangels that's coming up right now is Archangel Ariel. And like the name Ariel, Ariella, lioness of God, and you don't have to link it to religion or spirituality if you don't want to, but it could be that type of energy right now. Um, we are in Scorpio season. I've been feeling like there is lion energy, and I was talking about animal totems in the last reading where um, we talk about the animals that you're connected to and learning more about them, their characteristics, their demeanor, the things that they could teach you. And it's one of the important lessons in life where the everyday things can teach you the biggest lessons. And another aspect that I was saying was to know the enemies of that animal. There is the boldness of the lion energy or lioness energy, also linking to the strength card in Major Arcana 2, being one of the main cards that it links to in tarot. And it stands out with the monument on the front of the box. And this is also the Empress in this deck too, with the shield. And it could be, I feel like it links to somebody else where it's like you or the other person offers more protection than you know. there's that sense of protection, and the word that I was getting, another word that I was getting was belonging. And understanding motives, there was something that really was calling me to talk about those things. Could be motives for why you do things or why you would like to have something or experience something in your life. And it could be for other people too. Um, there could be ulterior motives as well. We see why people fight for the things that they fight for. Um, and if we're thinking about maybe political aspects of it, of why there are things that you might want to link to another nation, it could be the types of resources. So, the things that they could have in their territory, it might be oil, it might be something that is not good, like heroin. Um, it might be an area where there is a place that helps with trade. Um, could be where certain resources are, again, with water. Um, it might be the convenience of going through that area for different types of trading. If you have to, or you go through that land. Um, maybe political marriage. It's not something that you think about more these days, but there is that type of union and why they want that union. Um, in general, it might be to empower one or the other or both. Um, there could be an area where some nations need assistance or, um, again, with trouble. But we also look at, again, the other things that are surrounding that. So, I was shuffling. These two cards came out in the last reading. It's the Two of Coins, Two of Pentacles with the King of Wands. And I was linking it to the Leo or fire energy for the last reading. It could be another person or environment that sets it off because you have the Ace of Wands with the Page of Swords. And something that maybe the Page of Swords would have said that really fueled the situation. And you could take it in one way or the other way. I've said before that fire and air like to dance, and it really amplifies the energy. So, um, we'll see the type of direction it goes when it comes to those interactions. But it looks like there's like a setting off point. It's the beginning stages with the two of coins and the ace being one, even though they're from different suits. Ten of Water is showing up again, and a contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, trustworthy relationships. I feel like this could be the words that I'm getting are like strengthening the bonds, because there are a lot of cards that are coming out of this for this reading that were in the last reading. The Ten of Water, Ten of Cups, the Chariot card came out again. Archangel Metatron, an important achievement, self discipline and willpower, public recognition. I also feel like that links to the Strength card too. I don't see it right now, but Death or Release is here again. Archangel Azrael, the end of a phase or situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. And there could be different ways of saying and doing things. And I was thinking about it as I was, was talking or like articulating some words and how you pronounce them. And I can't say for certain, but I feel like it wouldn't be such a surprise. But you can go to different areas of the US and you can hear the different accents and some of the ways that they pronounce certain words, even slang, and it could differ from another area and it'll still be recognized as a different way to say something. Six of Water comes out again. Memories from your history or childhood issues regarding children romanticizing the past. I feel like the Page of Swords energy is one of the cards that are leading this reading. It's not a card that was in the last reading, but it can have lead to tense energy too, because it's like a child that doesn't have etiquette, or even a person that just says something and speaks their mind. And I'm not saying that one is worse than the other. It's definitely different types of personalities, and people can talk to other people and not mind those types of things, and other people might be extremely angry about it. So you could gauge that. There might be a type of crowd situation where the Page of Swords may have addressed something, and it's almost like taking it way out of the water, or with the swords, it's like really stabbing the knife and twisting it too. And it kind of sets a reality. And even if the reality that the Page of Swords portrays isn't exactly what it is, there is that sense of thinking about those things. It's like different situations where it reminds you of um, it makes you reflect about certain things in your life too. So there is that influence of the Page of Swords, even though it might seem like a not a main character type of energy, at the same time, it ignites something and it pushes the energy of that the main energy to go in some direction. Um, it might be also calling somebody out because of the way that the way that the cards came out, and since I said words, it could be the words of the Page of Swords, because the Chariot came out before the Death card, and the Six of Water, the Six of Cups, is kind of with the Chariot card. And even though it's technically going forward, since the Chariot is 7 and Death is 13, it almost feels like it backtracks too, with that Six of Cups, Six of Water. Because it kind of, it's like getting the story correct. And there is a lot of topic of discussion there too. Almost with the Page of Swords, when you had to get into those discussions in class, um, either the Page of Swords, there's like a passion about it and needing to say something. There's that bluntness that is of the sword and can be linked as like a characteristic of the Page of Swords. Of this person will say what they say, and it's pretty unapologetic for them. So there are newer cards, the Seven of Air, Seven of Swords, and the Six of Airs, Six of Swords. So it is kind of working backwards. Because seven came out before six. Plans that need revision, where going on then meets the eye, poor timing. It can also be like energy of, it might not be super intentional, but those, um, like, say your group is in trouble for something and you might be getting reprimanded by the cops or whatever. And then you have that one person that just doesn't know when to quit or doesn't know this isn't the right time to be joking about certain things. And it's like taking it a step further. It doesn't necessarily need to be a joke, but it's like the energy of being unhinged. I feel like that's the character, or that's the energy of the Page of Swords that I'm getting at right now. But it could also be understandable too, because if this is a newer energy, because it's a page or an experience, there maybe it might be the result of um, being sheltered, and that could be where the protection energy that comes in is coming from too. But I don't necessarily feel like it's harmful. And it's also, when the the sun randomly, not randomly, but decides I'm I'm gonna fight in the war, or I'm not like specifically saying it, it's actually from a movie. And the father was like, saw all the horrible things that happened in the last war that he fought in, and he didn't want his son going. I mean, it all depends on the family situation and the individual, so I'm not saying it's for everybody, but that's just what it was in that part of it. And the father like closed it off and not wanting to talk about it. And so the son was like, you lost your touch, or you're not one with reality anymore, or you used to fight for freedom and now you're a coward. Um, that type of touch, and again, not implying anything, but it kind of just feels like there's like a sheltered energy and wanting to protect in that way. So with this Page of Swords, sometimes it seems like unhinged, but it's not necessarily coming from like um not caring. So you have the Six of Swords, the Six of Air, and things are looking up, the end of a difficult situation, taking a trip. This might also be going out and making things correct. So it doesn't have to be a family dynamic like that with father and son. It could be like partners. It could be like intimate type of relationship, but it could also be political in a sense too. And that might be where the sheltering energy is, because there could be other people's ulterior motives that the one person or the other, or even everyone, don't necessarily want to get involved in that, but it's kind of like getting associated with that just because of maybe like the area or the family, or um, who they work with, and their some type of ties like that. You have the Queen of Swords and the Emperor here. I feel like it links with the Two of Coins, and the Two of Coins still links with the King of Wands because I did link them together in the last reading. And with the Queen of Swords, I'm not trying to read for genders. Um, but it does feel like there's woman king energy, and it could be one of the reasons why I was getting like Archangel Ariel, or with the Queen of Swords there and the Emperor there, that could link to the King of Wands. With the lion or lioness. One of the main things with the Queen of Swords, I feel like she or he isn't taking offense to certain things. Like, there's definitely a backbone there, and that could be linked to some criticism or some things that um, I also feel like the Queen of Swords is linked to the Page of Swords. One of the reasons being, well, aside that I feel like it is that um, that interaction with being in the same suit. And Page of Swords can be seen in a more feminine light, and um, so maybe the page and the queen and the knight and the king, if you will. There's like a straightforward type of mentality too. Because the Queen of Swords, it's almost as if there's not having distractions, that there is such a focus, since it's the Emperor and it's overlooking. It's like an overseeing card. It can be overseeing the kingdom or and the people and the resources and things that help things run smoothly. I just feel like there's some backlash with it for this reading. You have the Chariot again, and the Chariot is linked to the Death card here. And that's an obstacle for the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. How to overcome the obstacles, because it seems like there's multiple right now, is the Joker, the Fool card. There is a sense of ease, and I feel like the Emperor linked to the Queen of Swords is a good standing position with the Joker, the Fool card, because of the journey. The Chariot card and the Death card, it the death could be linked to the type of transformation with that, and even transfiguration too. It's almost like the direction and how we create and recreate is what I'm getting with the death card. It's not an easy task, and it almost feels alchemical too. There is a science behind it, if you will. It just kind of reminds me because I kept thinking about it like when um in the years that I was working in the pharmacy, and it's always learning something, and I feel like I would just get ripped like 13 new assholes because um it was a fulfilling, but it was like a strict environment in terms of you need to get, oh my God, you need to get this correct. And we're thinking about exact numbers, exact measurements. We're making sure that that decimal place is where it needs to be, because in a movement of a decimal point and you're giving out maybe some like a testosterone compound to a patient, and if that decimal point is just off by a placement, the patient could be growing a beard by the end of the week, and she might not want that. So it's just looking at those things, but it's also enjoying the journey too. Because I feel like this reading feels like an emphasis of understanding that this isn't like an overnight thing. And it's not going to be an easy task either. So it's like you're there for the ride. And since I was talking about different, well, I was talking about pharmacy and everything, um, just thinking about knowing ourselves and knowing our motives and the motives of others. This is a little bit of a stretch, but of why we use certain supplements or why we have different medications that are prescribed to us. So we're not the only ones that need to know these things. The people that we confide in, the people that we go to, um, are figuring these things out about ourselves. Um, Even when the patient, oh my God, my voice is cracking. I'm so sorry. Even when the patients would call, sometimes they didn't know the medication. They're just like, you know what I got last time. And I'm like, and so there's that type of trust that comes in there too. And that could be the excitement that comes from the full card. When we think about different supplements, saw palmetto is one of those standard supplements or herbal supplements that you notice when you're thinking about maybe prostate health. Um, Something that could be high in estrogen if we're thinking about mm, women's health is, or I mean, depending on the person. So I'm not trying to imply anything to anybody. And again, it's not a medical channel, but maybe chickpeas. And we just think about those things and what works for us. Even the brands have a sense of importance for us too. Um, it is good to read the ingredients, especially in the supplements that we take, because there are some like pure encapsulations is one of those brands that are one of the main ones that I noticed people really liked when coming into the pharmacy. And it's a hypoallergenic brand where you can look at the ingredients and it has the bare minimum. So you have the active ingredient, you see how much is in the serving, and you're gonna see how many it could be for one capsule, it could be for a serving of four, to make that up, and you would see to make sure that you're taking the amount that you're trying to achieve, or recommended. And then you see the other um, inactive ingredients. You might see, well, microcrystalline. Microcrystalline would be a base for the ingredients with the Microcrystalline is powder, and then you have it as a base for the capsule, and it is like a what they say a vehicle for your medication. And when you say vehicle, sometimes it could, I'm gonna start turning over cards. Um, could be like, why would you say vehicle? So say I wanted to, and I've given this example, I want to slow down or make it um, a delayed release for progesterone, and I want to do this because I want the effects to gradually affect the patient throughout the day, and not just like an immediate. And it's a shorter, maybe a shorter time frame. So I'm gonna add Methocel to the base. When you feel the Methocel, especially in the container, you're gonna notice that it's heavier. Um, Progesterone is a really light powder, and so when you're weighing it, you usually put a significant amount. Um, Even with the slower releasing supplements or compounds too, because you would create the um, compounding capsules in the lab if that's what you did. It would be maybe a larger capsule, or it would be a larger capsule because you wouldn't fit it in like a size 3. Especially that, and then you have the progesterone powder with it too. So with making it release in a certain way, it's like it elevates it from maybe like a smaller car to like a truck. I'm so sorry. And a truck would be when you see a truck on the road, it's definitely slower. It probably has stuff that weighs it down too. And with the size of it, it's a couple of different variables there. So that's one of the things that you consider when you're saying the vehicle, and the medication, the supplement could have different vehicles. Um, you might make it a liquid, you might make it a cream, you might make it a suppository. Those would be the non-sterile type of examples, and non-sterile just meaning that it's not something that you're necessarily putting into the body like a injection or like eye drops or something. So the overall energy for the Glory to Ukraine cards, you have the Three of Cups that comes out again, not in this reading, in a previous reading. I really do feel like the protection energy, and especially with Archangel Ariel that comes out of it too, that it's like strong. Um, and it's almost like even if it isn't family tied necessarily in that way, it could be family tied in like partners, like intimate partners. Because it looks like maybe a family or like a mother that doesn't want you to leave the nest type of energy. I was also thinking I was getting like the bear too. And the bear is also represented in the strength card in the Glory to Ukraine tarot. Again, with different types of influences and environments, you can see where that cultural significance comes into the deck. Um, you have the Nine of Wands. In the past, with it feels like it's more head on, especially with the Page of Swords. Because that could have been a page turner, that could have like changed something. It could have influenced it because it has the Ace of Wands that's linked to it. It seems more head on instead of beating around the bush. And with the strength that isn't shown necessarily in this reading, I feel like it's good that I have it. And with the Nine of Wands being in the past, it's a nice energy just because the Nine of Wands, it protects the person or the organization or nation because it's almost saying that no more attacks because there's a lot of damage right now. But in the future, it's interesting because you have the Seven of Wands with the Eight of Cups. It's almost as if there's a healing or like getting back up and feeling invigorated. And it could be with that communication of the Page of Swords. Because the Seven of Wands is something that doesn't like shy away if there's a fight. And it will get up if, well, it will. And there's that sense of needing to be victorious in that way. The Eight of Cups kind of gives that, um, it's almost like the path of approval in a person's heart. This is where, this is the direction that they're going, and that's where the heart is like leading them. So I'll read the multiple Archangel Oracle cards that I have for this reading. I feel like I've been taking out a lot of them. Hello from Heaven, Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael um, was it? It was in the Death card too. So the Release card in the Angel Tarot. Your loved ones in heaven are doing fine. Let go of worries and feel their loving blessings. This feels like a combination of different things because it's almost like there's that approval there, and not necessarily like you need approval, but I feel like it kind of clears the path of this is this shining path that is now illuminated for you to realize. Sometimes our paths aren't necessarily gleaming with hope, but there is the fulfillment that comes out of it. Um, Again, with protection, I feel like it also has to do with it too. Because it's letting go worries and feeling their loving blessings. You have career transition, Archangel Chamuel, your life purpose is triggering a blessed career change. And it makes sense with the Fool card and with the obstacle being the Chariot card that came out twice with the Death card. Both Major Arcana, Emperor Major Arcana. Overcoming difficulties, Archangel Dreamwheel. The worst is now behind you and you're surmounting any previous challenges. I just feel like some stuff might just be like coming up or blurting out too. And that could be the Page of Swords. And I'm so sorry. I just feel like I've been burpy the whole video. Um, so I'm gonna have to drink something after I make, or after I do this. Prioritize. Archangel Metatron comes out, and Archangel Metatron is also on the Chariot card. Focus your highest priorities. I will help you get organized and motivated. Breathe, Archangel Raphael. Take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. I feel like this links with the Queen of Swords. This could also be a difficult thing for the Queen of Swords too. Mainly because I feel like there has been, I wouldn't say a slump because I don't feel like she's necessarily bothered, but it's something different. Because the Queen of Swords can be linked as an individual energy. Of course, any card you could say is like an individual energy, but some people can dub it as like a divorcee card or a widow or widow type of energy, a person that hasn't had a lot of that type of interaction, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not with somebody. So, um, there could be some type of seclusion or even the word that I'm getting is exile. So that might be taking it in a specific direction and further than what it needs to be. But there could be some type of ostracizing energy of why there's like a reservation in the personality or who they are. And it could be too of that type of level of protection and maybe the person that they are, it's like wanting to protect themselves because to reveal who they are, it's something that's really precious to them and it's not something that is done super easily just because it's like if you give somebody information about yourself or they do whatever direction it is and they use it and they have ulterior motives and they use it in an ill-mannered way, it gives the sense to like the Queen of Swords of it's, and for even anybody really, that I'm not going to just let this go that easily. And it's not just for this person or this group of people, it's gonna be for everybody. Because I feel like it doesn't really stop at one person. I feel like one of the things with the Queen of Swords, it's trying to be, if one person, then it's everybody kind of energy of kind of setting that law down. And it's almost as if, well, I said it to this person, so I'm saying it to the next 10 people because this is the actions that were revealed to me or shown to me. And to make sure that we're all on the same page, this is what happens when this is carried out and it's not being tolerated. With the Queen of Swords, um, I'm not saying that there isn't that sense of needing to address those things, but it might be like a new type of chapter too. And since I do talk about, even though it's such a card that is kind of stamped as those types of characteristics or um, things are associated with this card, it's unintentionally and intentionally kind of linked to relationships when it's not trying to be. I mean, the Queen of Swords can link to the Libra card or Libra sign too, so it's not necessarily that off of it. But it is that stone wall type of reaction to things, um, of not trying to reveal those things about themselves or not revealing the cards. It'll be interesting how things come into play because it seems like the Queen of Swords might be playing the cards differently this time around. Patience, Archangel Jopiel, your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. I don't know if I show this card in this reading. With Reed, the Archangel Raphael. And then you have Archangel Gabriel. It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. With Spread Your Wings, Archangel Ariel comes up in this reading. Do not hold back right now. The timing is perfect and you're ready to soar. And I do feel like with the Woman King, it kind of comes into play too. This is a little different, but it is interesting that Archangel Gabriel in this deck has a different presence than what I feel like what you would see in other types of depictions of Archangel Gabriel in terms of maybe putting a gender to it, and you don't have to put a gender at all to um, beings or anything, but it's something that is recognized. So there is that type of place there. And if it isn't, um, with the Queen of Swords, if it isn't the female energy, it could also be um, a male that is in female energy. As we're in Scorpio season, it's a lot of heavy um, type of water that comes into play. I feel there's a lot of feelings. Um, and it I feel like it's going and it's delving into those sides of ourselves and going into the heart of certain situations and seeing the different people and what the motives are. And again, motives don't have to be a bad thing. It kind of sets certain things into motion. It's like having a foundation. It's like having certain things that what you would accept and not accept in relationships too. There's certain laws in different areas of life, and it's not something that it depends on the situation, but it's not something that you need to feel that somebody is trying to hinder you in that way. Again, it could depend on what it is, but just in general, it can link to the type of respect that they have for who they are and what they want to represent in life. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in another reading. Bye.